In today's lesson, we will be reading an article from the CNN. Let's begin by looking at the heading of the article. Xi and Modi talk friendship in a chaotic world as Trump's tariffs bite. Let's look at the first paragraph. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has told India's Modi the right choice is for their countries to be friends and partners, as the world's two most populous nations explore a rapprochement accelerated by their shared frictions with the United States. Let's look at the first word in our lesson, rapprochement. Let's examine the meaning of rapprochement. Rapprochement is a noun. Rapprochement is an agreement reached by people, groups, or countries that had huge differences for a long while. The article says, as the world's two most populous nations explore a rapprochement. The article states that India and China, as the two biggest countries by population, are looking for ways to improve their relationship. Let's practice with rapprochement. The two colleagues had a rapprochement after years of arguing. The meeting was a step towards rapprochement between the two friends. Let's look at the second word in our lesson, frictions. Let's look at the meaning of frictions. Friction is a noun. Frictions are tension or disagreement between people, groups, or nations. The article says, accelerated by their shared frictions with the United States. According to the article, India and China are building closer political and economic ties because of their shared tension with America's interests. Let's practice with frictions. There were frictions in the team because some people didn't agree on the plan. Their marriage was not without friction, but they always found ways to solve their problems. Let's look at the second paragraph. Xi and Modi's highly anticipated meeting Sunday on the sidelines of a regional summit in Tianjin marks the Indian leader's first visit to China in 7 years. The two shook hands and posed for cameras before their sit-down, which comes as both nations face stiff US tariffs as well as Western scrutiny over their relationships with Russia as the war in Ukraine rages. Let's look at the third word in our lesson, highly anticipated. Let's view the meaning of highly anticipated. Highly anticipated is an adjective phrase. Highly anticipated means something people are really looking forward to or excited about before it happens. The article says, Xi and Modi's highly anticipated meeting Sunday. The article says that many people were looking forward to the important meeting between Xi and Modi since it was Modi's first visit in 7 years to China. Let's practice with highly anticipated. The highly anticipated video game sold out within hours of its release. The highly anticipated launch of the new smartphone drew huge crowds to stores around the world. Let's practice with the fourth word in our lesson, stiff. Let's understand the meaning of stiff. Stiff is an adjective. Stiff refers to something that is strong or harsh. The article says, as both nations face stiff US tariffs. The article says that India and China are facing harsh tariffs from the US government. Let's practice with stiff. Retail shops are facing stiff competition from young people selling items on Amazon. The government met stiff opposition from people who didn't like the new housing bill. Let's practice with the fifth word in our lesson, scrutiny. Let's explore the meaning of scrutiny. Scrutiny is a noun. Scrutiny means close, careful and detailed examination or attention, the article says, as well as Western scrutiny over their relationships with Russia as the war in Ukraine rages. In short, Western countries are closely watching and criticizing India and China's relationship with Russia while the war in Ukraine continues. Let's practice with scrutiny. The coach put the players under scrutiny to see if they were ready for the big game. The company's performance is under scrutiny after huge losses in sales. Let's look at the third paragraph in our lesson. Modi said India was committed to taking their country's relations forward on the basis of mutual trust and respect, and referenced their bettering of ties, including an easing of tensions along their disputed Himalayan border, where the two fought a deadly skirmish in 2020. Let's look at the sixth word in our lesson today, mutual trust. Mutual trust is a noun phrase. The article says, Modi said India was committed to taking their country's relations forward on the basis of mutual trust and respect. Mutual trust happens when two or more people or countries trust each other equally and fully. In short, they are honest with one another. According to the article, Modi intends in improving India's relationship with China by ensuring both sides trust and respect each other. Let's practice with mutual trust. A strong marriage is built on mutual trust. The players won many games because of their mutual trust. In this section of our lesson, we will be doing a reading practice. Listen carefully to what I say and repeat after me. Let's start. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has told India's Modi the right choice is for their countries to be friends and partners. As the world's two most populous nations explore a rapprochement accelerated by their shared frictions with the United States. Xi and Modi's highly anticipated meeting Sunday on the sidelines of a regional summit in Tianjin marks the Indian leader's first visit to China in 7 years. The two shook hands and posed for cameras before their sit-down, which comes as both nations face stiff US tariffs as well as Western scrutiny over their relationships with Russia as the war in Ukraine rages. Modi said India was committed to taking their country's relations forward on the basis of mutual trust and respect, and reference their bettering of ties, including an easing of tensions along their disputed Himalayan border, where the two fought a deadly skirmish in 2020. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. As always, do not forget to subscribe and please comment by writing in the comment section which word was your favorite and try to use it in a sentence. Looking forward to the next episode. See you soon.